Welcome to Kiss Community Connections at 1031. I'm Phyllis Jones. Guess what? Since the holidays are here, I'm the host and the guest. Yeah, I know. Here I am again. But we have a lot to talk about today. In fact, we're going to talk about 4 different things. Do they all go together? Nah. But we're going to talk about 4 different things this morning. And, I have to do some us talking and talking to us. And we're going to do that this morning, too. In fact, that's how I'm going to jump it off. Last weekend, we lost an icon in the city of Killeen. I'll just say in Bell County, because you might go anywhere in Bell County and hear her name and somebody was leaping up. But her name was Rosa Herford. Rosa Herford became, I guess, a historic person in Killeen because she was the first female and African-American female on Killeen City Council. So you figure after all these years of the city council being all men, here comes this 4'11" redhead woman, and they're on the city council. So you can imagine she changed some things on the council. Because when not to knock men out, but there's certain things men don't think about when they're in office. So she made some changes in the office, but she also made some changes in the city of Killeen. Rosa was also a educator. So she put those two together, and she formed to be a little dynamic ball of fire. And if you knew Rosa and you were close to her, you became one of her, I guess, mentees, because she became one of a lot of us mentors. She was our mentor. She held meetings with us to let us know what we need to be doing and what we had to be doing and what we better be doing. Also, if you worked for the school district, no matter what position you had, in August every year, she would hold a luncheon at her favorite restaurant, which was Red Lobster. And she would tell us what our charges were for that year. But, when she would tell you your charge for the year, her thing was, yes, make sure that all the kids learn. Make sure you remember the kids. But Rosa's concern was always our African-American males. She said, make sure you talk to them, guide them, push them a little harder than you push anyone else, because life for them is not going to be fun. And it can be a little hard. And those are the things that she instilled on you every year when we met. Also she would instill in you that everybody was an educator who touched a child. So everybody who had lunch with her was not exactly a teacher or instructional specialist. She would also tell you if you worked in an elementary school, the custodian was an educator. And if you work in an elementary school, you realize the custodian is an educator, because 10 to 1, your custodian is a male. And if he's there throughout the day, when the kids are running down the hall, he go, hey, why are you running in my hallway? The kids kind of stop because he just said it's his hallway, and you don't know quite who he is, but don't be running it. If he's in the cafeteria, he, keeps things going correct. There are times when he comes into a classroom and kids are disruptive, and he know they are. He'll come in and they stop being disruptive. So Rosa also let you know that, everybody, like I said, who touches a child is an educator, and she let us know how important education is. Women, she met with a lot of us, African-American women, and she gave us our charges and our charges in the community, making sure our voices are heard, making sure the voice of the voiceless is also heard. And if you're the one chosen to be the voice for the voiceless, then do it and be good at it. So she taught you that. She taught you about politics. She taught you the ins and outs. There was a time when you were running for anything, any office, I don't care who you were, you sat down with Rosa Herford first. Because we would all say, have you talked to Rosa? No, you better talk to her before you run. And we said that because Rosa knew not so much how to make sure you won 100%, but she knew the little things that you didn't know. She also knew some of the people that you would run into, both negative and positive, because, when you run for office, you have these people that you run into that aren't exactly nice. Well, she showed you and told you how to go around them, how to go through them, how to some of them ignore them. But she let you know all the potholes that you were going to face and how to go over those potholes smoothly. She let you know that, so it became, if you were running for office, go see her. just go see her. That's all you would say. And then if somebody was running and we said, what did Rosa tell you? I didn't talk to her. Then we're like, well, you better go talk to her and apologize when I called her earlier. We would do that. But also, with the passing of Rosa Herford, there's something that we're not doing. You know, she was big on community. She was big on children. She was big push on African American females and our job and our roles in the city and in life are. But what we miss is this. When someone like her passes away, the first thing we go is, when is the funeral? We make sure we go, and then we go home. Well, that's not what Rosa wanted. Your job when you found out she passed was to roll your sleeves up, remember what your place is and what you're best at, and go to work. That was it. Go to work. We should all know that. Those of us who knew Rosa should know right now, instead of sitting around passing day by day, trying to figure out when the funeral is going to be so that you can go and show the family support, because Rosa doesn't know you're there because she's gone, you know, and show the support and all this. Do that. I'm not saying don't do that, but also remember what she stood for. And you got to remember, when an icon dies, it's time for you to step up to the plate. So those of you who are sitting down, you know, talking about her, you know, waiting for the word when her funeral is, remember that she expected everybody to step it up. So right now, your sleeves should be rolled up, and ready, because you know what your job is. You know your job is whatever you do best. You know, me, I'm not the I know how to fight a battle, but I'm the one I'm not going to sit back and wait and watch. I'm just going to go kick the door in and we're going to discuss it right now. That's my style. That's me. I'm good at it and I need to stay there. You know, so, but we all need to do what she would have wanted us to do to carry on what she left behind. We need to do that. We need to do that politically, because she left a blueprint behind that we need to follow. You know, there are those of us who could tell you, you know, you're going to watch out for this person because they're going to say this, but this is their background. You need somebody who's going to tell you that. You really do. You need that person. Well, Rosa left that information with a number of us on how you should walk it, what you should do. Not that we're experts. It's just that she was first. She was the first in the city of Killeen. Like I said, twice first. First female and first African-American female. You know, and you got to figure in Killeen at the time that she ran was some hurdles going on in the city of Killeen. I don't know if you do know, but, you know, in the 70s in Killeen, and that's not that far ago. I'm just saying, you know, most African Americans, you lived in Marlboro Heights, and Marlboro Heights was once a city in Killeen. It had its own everything, but that was the only place African Americans could live in Marlboro Heights. And in 1970, well, actually in 1969, they closed Marlboro Heights Elementary School because integration was here. They closed the school, and those kids were flying out everywhere. At that time, was Rosa Herford here? Yes. Was she one of the teachers that transferred over to work in another school with the kids? Yes, she was. But also, that was the same year that the NAACP formed to say that they should not close that school when Marlboro Elementary School had to open back up. And it did. And that was the forming of the NAACP, and it did. Rosa was also a lifetime member of NAACP. She joined the NAACP March 16th, 1986 is when she joined. And a few years after that is when she first ran for Killeen City Council. She served for 12 consecutive years. Now, you got to remember, each term is only 6 years. So she sat out 1 year and came right back. And if she wasn't good, she wouldn't have been called back. So you figure she was good. She did a lot of good for a lot of people. So she was called back. But like I'm saying is this. When an icon like Rosa Herford passed away, your job is not to just sit back and go, oh my gosh, we lost her. Your job is to sit back and say, yes, we lost her, but we must finish the work. So like I'm saying right now, as you're listening to me talk, your sleeves should be rolled up. You should be up, shake the kinks out your head, and realize what your place was. Because no matter who you were, no matter what color you were, Rosa touched you in some kind of way, and you know what your job is. As African American females, we know what our job is. We need to just go on and do it. We know what we need to do. Rosa was also always talking about the generation after us. The fact that, are we saving them? What are we doing about them? Do we even know about them? Well, it became our job to do so. When Rosa retired from KISD, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that made her retire. When the age of technology came in, Rosa refused to use technology at all. I mean, she was through. She was done. I'm not getting a cell phone. She was still using a word processor. I went over her house one day and I'm like, what the world? I'm like, what the world are you using? I look, I'm like, that's a word processor. They still make them? It still works? Hers work. Yeah, she found a way to get ribbon. But she refused to change with technology. So guess what she threw upon us? You do it. She would call, hey, listen, I need you to look up this and bring it to me. All right, yes, ma'am. We looked it up and brought it to her because we were a few generations, after her. So it became our job to also give her information, but to go find out things. So Rosa began as she got older and started, relaxing, gave us jobs to do. And we actually did them because we didn't want to hear her beat us up later on. You don't understand. We don't want that. But we knew what our jobs were and we did them. So like I'm saying, when an icon passes away, along with mourning their passing and thinking about the times of old, you need to remember that when they pass, it's time to step up. It's time to do some of the things that you knew they would have done. It's time for you to not do everything, but do what's best for you. Do your best at what you knew she was doing, whatever she was fighting for. It's time for us to pick up the torch and continue it. And continue and watch it grow and just watch it. Make sure it goes right. So that's what I'm going to talk about with Rosa Herford. But also along the lines of Rosa Herford, last 2 weeks ago, there was a couple here and there. They're not a couple, but they're a group within themselves. It was Brian and Pokey. They came on to talk about the march, taking back the streets. And when they came on here, and after that, I went to their meeting because I was interested in it. I went to their meeting and I sat back with listening to them with a smile on my face because they did it. The city council, well, I won't say the city council, the city of Killeen, first of all, called their march a protest. Well, they found out you can't cause, if I put in a request for a march, it's a march. You can't say this is what it looks like because that's not what I put in for. But they fought, and they stayed the course. They didn't back down. They didn't accept no. They didn't accept, well, you're going to have to do it. They didn't accept any of that. But I'll say the police chief and the assistant city manager realized that regardless of all, the march is going to take place. The march is going to go. So I sat back, listened to them, and I was like, man, they got it. And what I mean is they got it. They got it. The parts of history that we're supposed to pass down, they got it. They didn't step back. They kept on going. They stayed the course. Where I know a lot of people would have backed down and said, no, you know what? I'm going to do whatever the city wants. They want me to have the march on sidewalk. I'll have the march on the sidewalk. I'll do whatever. I'll change the route. Or I'm not going to fight them anymore. I'm going to go away. But they didn't. They stayed. So at their meeting, I was sitting there, and I'm like, they had everything covered. They had the person on the corners with the water for those who needed water during the walk. They had a person, the CPR in case somebody passes out on the walk. They had everything you could possibly think of for on the way to the walk, on the way to the journey from the apartment complex to Conda Park. They had it all mapped out. They had it done. It was professional. It was smooth. You couldn't say nothing. And it was good because I could sit there and listen and watch them and have nothing to say. And that's great because I want to go and have nothing to say because that lets me know that somewhere in there, they got the message. Somewhere in there, they got the word. Somewhere in there, they heard something that got passed down to them and they utilized it. They utilized it. So you could sit back and you could say, they got it. They got it and they're doing it. So for my thing is to support it. I supported everything they did. I was like right there with, and whatever I could add to it, I did. I asked them who's going to make signs, and they were like, "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, you have sign making party." Back in the days when I was with the marches and all those things in the 70s, we did sign parties. So they did a sign party. Well, since I mentioned it, what did I do? I bought some of the paper to them, some of the poster board and markers. Hey, here, I can at least contribute that to what they were doing. But I admire the fact that, like I said, they stayed the course. And at their last meeting before the event, which was terrific, they talked about step 2. And what that tells me is that they're not going away. They didn't just take back the streets just to say, okay, we did it, we're going to go home and sit down. No, they begin to plan on doing something for Black History Month. They intend to plan on doing this event again, but making it bigger. They plan on doing this event until it stops. Now, reason of taking back the streets, it's not that they gave the streets away, and no one gave the streets away. No, we didn't give them away. But crime became an overriding issue in our streets. And, when it does, when crime takes over, and it has taken over, then it is time for someone to step up and say, hey, we got to do something about this. We got to take our streets back. And the only people who could take back the streets can't be the police. Police department can't take back the streets. They can't, and it's not even, they can't. They can't do that. The community has to do so. And community has to do so by letting people know, I know who you are. I'm calling you out. I see you, and we're going to be watching. So all those who were part of the march and part of the whole program made a statement of, we're taking our streets back from you, which means we're taking it back from the crime that's being committed, which means we see it and we're just not going to take it anymore, which means we don't want our children to grow up afraid or scared. Or, we don't want that. You don't want your kids to, nowadays kids are, they use 2 thumbs. Just 2 thumbs. That's it. And they use them on a computer. And we say we need to get the kids off of it. But you know what? They can't go outside and play anymore. Not like they used to. Why? Because crime is crazy. We have sex trafficking going on. We have all these crazy things going on until your kid really, 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 really can't go outside and play the way they could. They really can't. Not to say they have an excuse to be on a computer, but I'm just saying that, used to be you came home, you did your homework, you took off your school clothes. I don't know how many of you are that age, but you had to take your school clothes off and you put on your play clothes. And your play clothes were the school clothes you wore last year. They switched. And you knew that by heart. Joe was like, yep. Hand-me-downs. Or hand-me-downs. But you took your school clothes off, you put your play clothes on, and you went outside. And in fact, depending on where you live, you played in the street. And cars would just slow down, blow their horn, you move out of the street, car would go by, and then you continue playing the street. Cars didn't fly down the street because they knew kids could be playing. So it was a logical thinking habit. Cars did not fly down your street. So your kids could actually go outside. You could actually tell your kids to come in and whatever time and they actually came in. If they didn't come in, they knew that, their certain parts of their body will be a different color than the other parts of their body. But you can't do that today. Today we have too many things going on and we need to stop them. So their way of saying this is, like I said, it's taking back the streets. So you know what? I'm proud of them. Whatever they do, I'm going to support what they do. I don't care how I have to do it. I'm going to support what they do because they've done what I'll say Rosa Herford has always stood for, was to get out there and fight for something that you really believe in. They believed in it, they fought it, and they won. I mean, and like I said, when the city said have the march, but have it on the sidewalk, but you got to knock on everybody's door whose house you pass and get it approved. Do you know how stupid that sounds? I mean, that's impossible. It's crazy, and it's like, for real, seriously. You all actually formed your lips to say that, and they did. Well, they're not doing it. So that none of that happened. None of those things happened. But like I said, the march continued, the event continued, and everything was cool, and that was good. But we need to get behind people when they do things like that. Sometimes we'll go, well, you know what? I was thinking about it, but I just didn't do it yet. Forget all that. Let's drop the I was thinking about it, but I didn't do it yet. Keep that to yourself. Keep it under your breath and go support who's doing it. Go support who's doing it. And when they're doing it again, then you jump in and add in your 5 cents or your pieces. You add in yours at the next event. Say, hey, you know what? I was thinking about what y'all did when you did it. Tell them one-on-one, but next time, can I have a part? Can I play a part in it? Can I do, you doing A and B? Well, can I do C? So you don't say I was going to do it. Nah, they took my idea. They stole. No, we got to quit they stole my idea because I just didn't do it fast enough. No, let's drop that and let's just say to them, hey, I was thinking about what you're doing, but you all had it up there. So when you do it again, can I do, like I said, can I do C? You did this and this. And so for the next one, can I add this in? Simple. It's real simple. So that also helps with taking back the streets. Because, when our young people see us disjointed, they become more disjointed. But when they see us together, they realize, wait a minute, hold on, those two are talking. They shouldn't even be talking, but they are. Why are they talking? Because they are. And with kids, they pick that up and they see it, so they begin to talk, and they begin to express things. I know at the meeting we were there, one of those, I'll say again, I guess I'm still talking about Rosa Herford. At the meeting, after the meeting, we were outside and this young man's car wouldn't start. So we were out there with him, knowing that we were not mechanics, so we didn't know what the heck we were doing. But anyway, we were out there talking. The little girl walked up to me and she goes, hey, Miss Phyllis, how you doing? I'm like, fine, how are you? She says, I'm in middle school. I'm like, yes, I know you're in middle school. I said, how are you doing in middle school? So I looked at the outfit and she had on a white shirt and black pants. So immediately I knew what school she was going to. So I asked her what happened. Why was she an alternative? And her grandmother didn't know I knew her. And her little friends was like, who is this woman? So she told me, she said, well, this is Miss Phyllis. She worked at the school I used to go to. And in fact, she helped make it easy for me in ISS, and she said, because I didn't think I deserved to go. But after talking to her, I went and it was okay. So I asked her, I said, so was I cruel or mean to you? She said, no, you talked to me like a grandma and made me realize that I'm there. So I asked her, I said, so why are you an alternative today? She said, because somebody was talking about my mother. So I asked her, I said, was it true? She said, no, so why you fight? She said, me. I said, now if somebody said something about my mother that was bad, but it was true, I'm going to fight you then because you're getting the truth out about my mother. I can't have that. I said, but when people tell lies about your parents, yeah, I wouldn't even fight about it. It's not worth it. I said, because you in your heart know it's true. And if the whole community believes it, so what? You know what's actually true. So me and her talked about it, and her little cousin was standing there and said, well, I'm about to go. You about to go? So I'm like, hold on, wait. Why are you about to go to our church? She said, because I'm going to beat this girl up. So we talked about the beat up. We talked about the beat down. We did. We had a serious discussion about the beat down, and one little girl, she said, well, Miss Phyllis, you don't understand. I'm like, understand what? She said, you don't understand how it is to be in trouble in school. I'm like, yes, I do. I got in trouble in school. And they looked at me like, what? I said, I didn't grow up to be this way I said, the way I am now, what I do now, I didn't just grow up being this person. I went through some things too. So I got in trouble in school, but I just didn't get so alternative because I said, one, we didn't have an alternative campus and my grades kept me, I guess, in survival mode because they didn't send me because of the grades I had in school. But we began to talk, a real talk with the girls, both of them, and one girl, she said that her principal was going to make her sign a paper that she would never come within so many feet of the girl. And if she did, she'd go to alternative. I said, did you sign the paper? She said, no. So I talked to her grandmother, same grandmother. And I was asked, I said, so what if the girl walks up to her? She said, well, then they both go to alternative. I'm like, that's not making any sense at all because you're in school. And in school, who knows, whatever, they might be close enough to. I said, you should recommend your child maybe go to another elementary school. I said, because this is too much tension in one school for her to go to school every day and know that if I'm close to this girl in any kind of way, I'm going to alternative. I said, that's too much to put on her head every day. I said, because that's almost like a threat. If you being close to her, you're going to go to alternative. Something can happen which will put them not together, but in the same vicinity, and boop, she's gone. So I was like, no, we can't have this. And I didn't even know schools were doing this. So now that I know that, guess what? I got to look into it. You know why? Because Rosa Herford would have got on me for knowing that and not doing anything about it. Because to me, that doesn't make sense. I could see if, in an adult frame of mind and two adults, you can't be on the same street or whatever. I got that. When they fighting and, threatening to kill and all that. I understand you at the police at an adult level saying, well, you can only be so many feet away from somebody. I don't work with you. I don't see you every day. That's okay. But we're in the same school? No. Something could happen. It will force us to be close together. Where we didn't do it on purpose, but it just happened. And, she was close to me. She got to go. No. I said, that's something that you got to go to school and every day think about. You do. Once you open the doors of that school, you're a target, number one, because everybody's going to be watching to see if you get close to this child. So you're no longer going to be a child anymore. You're that. So like I said, when I was taught by Rosa Herford, now I'm going to look into it. But first of all, I had a conversation with the grandmother. Now, move your grandchild to another middle school because that doesn't need to be over her head all day long, every day. And like I said, educators are going to look at her differently. You might say, no, I'll see wrong. I work in elementary school. I know how teachers and educators and will focus and say, you know what, that child right there, be careful of her. She bad. You see that boy right there? Be careful of him. Oh my God. He's just a nightmare. Guess what child I'm going to go up to? I'm going to go right to the one that you said don't go to. I'm going to go right to that kid and we're going to form a relationship. Why? Because I need to. Why? Because I don't like the fact that child is singled out through the whole campus as being a problem child, male or female. So everybody sees them and go, oh my God, here they come. I don't want that. Because that's not fair. Because now you're giving a child total control. And now everybody's judged that kid differently. So I'm going to go after that kid. Not after them negatively, but we're going to form some kind of relationship. If we just got a don't like each other relationship, we're going to form something. Because we can't have that. So people need to know that's done in schools. So I talked to the grandmother about, moving her child. Once again, like I said, stepping up to the plate and being, first of all, who I am. And first of all, remember, I'm a student of Rosa Herford. So, if I would have came home and talked to her on the phone that day and not said anything, man, I'd have got, from a 4'11" redhead, I'd have got beat up. And that wasn't a beating I was meaning to take. So, like I said, kudos to Pokey and Brian. And congratulations to Brian because he's a brand new father of a little boy, a 7-pound little boy. So that's good. And so I guess he's got a lot to celebrate. A new child and a completed event that was fantastic. Well, we're going to take a little break and come back because I have 2 more things to talk about.